Hello, my name is Kenzie, and this is my internship presentation for the Marriage and Family Studies major. Um, in this presentation, I'll be going over how I arranged my internship, my responsibilities, and what I did to contribute to the place that I volunteered, as well as the insights that I gained personally and the insights that I made through my coursework. So I interned at a surgical center called Advanced Surgery Center of Northern Utah. And one of the important things that I wanted out of my internship experience was to interact with people face to face, and to also gain experience within the healthcare system, which is where I eventually want to end up working. So this ended up being a really great learning and self-reflection opportunity that I'm grateful that I was able to experience. Like I mentioned before, I wanted to do an in-person internship, but I struggled to find places that would contact me back. There was a lot of phone calls and a lot of emails that were unanswered. So the surgical center ended up being the best option for me that fit my work schedule, who contacted me back, and they also provided the in-person interaction with staff members and patients that I wanted to have. I ended up having connections at the surgical center and was able to get in contact with my supervisor, who ended up being really helpful and encouraging when it came to my education and also the needs of the center and what I could contribute. So that was really encouraging for me in my decision to internship here. So my main responsibility was to help greet and check in patients, which seemed really boring, but it was a great opportunity to develop empathy and communication between patients and also between the staff and patients. A lot of the time, these patients come in they're really nervous. They're angry and frustrated at their situation. Nobody wants to have surgery, and it can be a stressful and scary experience. So I was able to use the skills I developed in my schoolwork to ease a lot of people's emotions. I helped talk them through the process of checking in and what they would likely experience as far as the process goes at the surgical center. And I kind of started their process for their procedure. I learned a lot about HIPAA and insurances and how that can add to someone's frustration or stress. It can also be a big blessing for others. I maintained patient information. I had to keep it organized. I had to keep it confidential. I filed charts from the day before. I also pulled charts for the next day. I helped fulfill other duties and assignments that was asked of me. But one of the more fun things that I was able to do was to help build staff morale and reduce burnout during their busiest season, and when they were short-staffed. So I was able to provide stress relief activities such as deep breathing and mindfulness exercises for the staff to do either at home or in the break room at work. But I was also able to kind of highlight different areas or departments within the surgical center. So we had a scrub tech week that I was in charge of, a central sterile week, x-ray materials week, and nurses week. And it was really fun, but even more important to acknowledge everyone on the team and to give them the encouragement and motivation to know that what they do really does make a difference in their patients' lives and that it is a team effort. One of the things that I did was I scheduled a massage therapist to come and give 15-minute massages to the staff workers. And that was one of the highlights for them. I know that they really appreciated that, but I was able to be creative in that kind of way as well. I decorated, I provided treats. It was just a really fun way to kind of get out of the whole work mode for the staff. How did I benefit the site I worked at? So I witnessed that staff burnout in the healthcare system is real, and there are some really stressful and taxing jobs within the surgical center. So one of the things that I was able to do was learn different areas of the center. So when the center was short-staffed, I could help out. So I wiped down patient rooms. I helped wipe down the operating rooms between patients. I stocked supplies. I was basically anywhere that they could use my help when I wasn't busy checking in patients. But that was mostly my main job, is being up front and interacting with them when they came in. COVID is still a really big concern within the healthcare system. So I did a lot of COVID screenings. I took patient and visitor temperatures, and made sure that they were ready that way to go back into the nursing area. I did what I could to improve the patient experience, but also the experience of the staff. How did I benefit personally from this experience? I was actually really anxious to work with the public in the healthcare setting, but by the end, it became second nature, and I didn't stress about it as much as I did at the beginning. I had to problem solve issues when they came up, such as wrong information for the patient. Sometimes that required resubmitting forms for insurances and contacting doctors' offices. I also developed a big sense of empathy for patients coming in and did my best to communicate their concerns with the staff before the patient interacted with them. I think this also helped staff be more patient and understanding when they could recognize why the patient was upset or frustrated. Unanticipated injuries, the financial burden of going through an injury adds to the stress of having a procedure. So having that empathy for healthcare workers and patients went a really long way in how I interacted with others. I got to see firsthand how much these workers invest their time and their effort to help and serve. And it was an experience that I hope to contribute to my next career. Connection between my coursework and my internship. The biggest connection I made between my coursework and my internship was advocacy. I made sure that everything I did was for the benefit of the patient with them in mind. And there were some hard moments that I had to ask questions in a way that reminded the staff that we have to put aside what's going on in our lives, or put aside their work frustrations and focus on the patient that they're interacting with. I noticed as I did that, the staff was more patient, and that they were more aware of what the patient might be experiencing. They were able to have better attitudes or improve their own situation when working with others. Sometimes coworkers can cause a lot of stress. But I think when we work together, it can help everyone out in the long run. Another connection I made was Bronfenbrenner systems theory, and how everything within that patient's family, and the people that come in with them, how they interact can help or hinder that process for them. There were moments when patient family members made things worse or they made things better. But I did my best to put everyone at ease. I let them know that they're in really good hands and to answer any questions I could about what they could expect out of the surgical process. I also learned a lot about family and community relationships. There are so many resources out there to help patients after surgery, things such as home health. They did a lot of total hips and total knees, and the older patients need help when they go home. There's also the aspect of physical therapy. And it reminded me that there are a lot of resources out there for many different situations for people in every kind of any workplace, especially the ones that I might come in contact with in the future. And it's important to learn and understand that what is available around me, not only in my professional life, but also my personal life. You never know who you might be able to help just by the information that you have. Would I recommend this site? I struggled to find an internship, and luckily I had an in with the surgical center. So my recommendation is to do whatever it is you need to do to get the internship that you want and the experience that you want. This worked out well for me financially, that I could still maintain my hours for work and contribute to my internship hours. But it was an internship catered to me, which I greatly appreciated. But the surgical center doesn't look for interns to serve at this particular place. So I would not recommend this site. But I hope this presentation was helpful in providing different experiences for an internship and what that might look like. I wish you the best in your education efforts and finding an internship that gives you the most opportunity for growth and to demonstrate the skills that you will gain and experience in the marriage and family studies major.